Have you ever looked up at the night sky and felt a profound sense of wonder mixed with a little bit of fear? You see countless stars, endless galaxies, and you realize just how small you are in the grand scheme of things. This feeling often leads to some of life's biggest questions. Why am I here? What is the purpose of it all? Is there some grand plan, or are we just adrift in a cosmic ocean? If you have ever wrestled with these thoughts, then you have already taken your first step into the world of existentialism. It is a philosophy not for the faint of heart, but for the brave souls who dare to look into the void and ask the hard questions about what it means to be human. Existentialism is not a philosophy that gives you easy answers. In fact, it does the opposite. It tells you that there are no prepackaged answers waiting for you. There is no universal instruction manual for how to live a good life. Instead, it places the full weight of existence squarely on your shoulders. It suggests that we are born into a world without any inherent meaning or purpose. We simply exist. And from that starting point of pure existence, we must create our own meaning, our own values, and our own purpose through the choices we make every single day. This can sound terrifying, but it can also be incredibly liberating. It means your life is your own masterpiece to create. People are drawn to existentialism because it speaks to a fundamental human experience. It addresses the anxiety, the feeling of being lost, and the search for meaning that touches all of us at some point in our lives. In a world that often tries to tell you who you should be, what you should want, and how you should live, existentialism offers a radical alternative. It gives you permission to stop searching for external validation and to start looking inward. It is a deeply personal journey, one that encourages you to confront the realities of life, both the beautiful and the terrifying, and to live a life that is truly and authentically your own, defined by your own standards. So as we journey through this idea, think of it less as a complex academic subject and more as a conversation about your own life. It is a tool for self-exploration. It challenges us to wake up from the passive slumber of just going through the motions and to become active participants in the creation of our own reality. It is a call to action, a dare to live with intention, courage, and a deep sense of personal responsibility for the one precious life you have been given. The universe may be silent on the matter of your purpose, but existentialism teaches us that your actions can speak volumes. Our exploration begins with a man who is often called the father of existentialism, even though he lived long before the term was coined. His name was Søren Kierkegaard, a Danish philosopher from the 19th century. Kierkegaard was a deeply religious man, but he was troubled by the organized, impersonal nature of the state church. He believed that faith was not something you could inherit or belong to as part of a crowd. It had to be a passionate, personal, and often terrifying leap of faith made by an individual. He emphasized the importance of subjective, personal truth over objective, universal facts. For Kierkegaard, the most important truths were the ones you lived and felt in the core of your being. Next on our path is the provocative German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche. Nietzsche famously declared that God is dead. He didn't mean this literally, but rather that the idea of God and the religious and moral systems built around it had lost its power to guide Western civilization. Without this divine anchor, he believed humanity was set adrift, facing a great crisis of meaning, which he called nihilism. But Nietzsche didn't see this as an ending. He saw it as an opportunity. He challenged us to become the Übermensch, or overman, a person who overcomes nihilism by creating their own values and living with strength, creativity, and a powerful will to power to shape their own destiny. In the 20th century, the ideas of existentialism exploded into popular culture, largely thanks to the French philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre. Sartre was the one who truly embraced the label existentialist and made it famous. He gave us one of the movement's most iconic phrases, "Existence precedes essence." This simply means that you are not born with a predefined nature or purpose, like a knife is made to cut. You are born first, you exist, and then through your choices and actions, you define your own essence, your own identity. For Sartre, this radical freedom was the central condition of being human, a condition we could not escape. Finally, we meet Albert Camus, a friend and later a rival of Sartre. Camus focused on another core concept, the absurd. He described the absurd as the conflict between our human desire to find meaning and order in the world and the cold, silent, and indifferent universe that offers none. It is like screaming a question into an empty canyon and only hearing your own echo in reply. But Camus did not believe this should lead to despair. Instead, he argued that we should embrace the absurd. We should recognize the lack of inherent meaning and rebel against it by living life with passion, freedom, and a defiant joy, much like the mythical Sisyphus, who he imagined as happy in his endless, meaningless task. Perhaps the most fundamental idea in all of existentialism is the concept of radical freedom. Jean-Paul Sartre put it bluntly when he said we are condemned to be free. What does this mean? It means that we are always, at every moment, making a choice. Even choosing not to choose is, in itself, a choice. You cannot escape it. There is no destiny, no fate, and no higher power pulling the strings. You are the author of your own story, and every action you take is a brushstroke on the canvas of your life. This freedom is not just about choosing what to have for breakfast or what movie to watch. It's about choosing who you are going to be. This idea of freedom is directly linked to the principle that existence precedes essence. Think about a paper knife. The artisan who made it had a clear idea in mind. Its essence. It was designed to be a letter opener. Its purpose was defined before it was even created. Existentialists argue that humans are not like that paper knife. We are born without a predefined essence or purpose. We are just here, existing. It is only after we begin to live, to act, and to choose that we start to create our own essence. You are not born a hero, a coward, a leader, or an artist. You become one through the sum of your choices. With this immense freedom comes an equally immense responsibility. If you are the one making all the choices, then you are solely responsible for the outcome. You cannot blame your parents, your society, your genetics, or your circumstances for the person you become. According to the existentialists, these things are just facts of your situation, but it is your choice of how to respond to them that truly matters. This is a heavy burden to carry. It means every failure and every success rests on your shoulders. It is the price we pay for being the masters of our own destiny, and it is a responsibility from which we can never truly escape. This responsibility extends beyond just yourself. Sartre argued that when we choose for ourselves, we are also choosing for all of humanity. When you make a choice, you are implicitly saying, this is how a human being should act. You are creating an image of humanity as you believe it ought to be. So, when you choose to act with courage, you are not just being courageous yourself. You are affirming courage as a human value. This elevates the stakes of every decision we make. It transforms our personal choices into statements about the very nature and potential of what it means to be human. Imagine a man pushing a massive boulder up a steep hill. Just as he reaches the top, the boulder rolls all the way back down to the bottom. So he walks down and begins his task all over again, for eternity. This is the ancient Greek myth of Sisyphus, and for Albert Camus, it was the perfect metaphor for the human condition. We are Sisyphus. We spend our lives searching for meaning, purpose, and rational explanations in a world that provides none. This clash, this gap between our deep need for meaning and the universe's silent indifference, is what Camus called the absurd. It is a fundamental conflict that we all face. The experience of the absurd can surface at any time. It might happen during a moment of crisis, or it might happen on a perfectly ordinary Tuesday. You are going through your daily routine, the commute, the work, the errands, and suddenly a question hits you. Why? Why am I doing any of this? What is the point? The world suddenly seems strange, alien, and disconnected from your desires. The comfortable scenery of your life falls away, revealing the stark, meaningless stage beneath. This is the moment of confrontation with the absurd, a feeling of being a stranger in your own life, an actor who has forgotten their lines in a play without a script. Faced with this realization, Camus saw three possible responses. The first is to escape through suicide, physical or philosophical. This is to give up, to declare that a life without inherent meaning is not worth living. Camus rejected this as a cowardly evasion. The second response is to take a leap of faith, to believe in a higher power or a cosmic plan that gives life meaning despite the lack of evidence. Kierkegaard might have championed this, but Camus saw it as a denial of reason and an escape from the absurd, not a confrontation with it. He believed we should not deny either our reason or the universe's silence. The third, and for Camus, the only honorable response, is rebellion. We must accept the absurd, look it straight in the eye, and refuse to surrender to it. We must live in revolt against our condition. We continue to push our boulder up the hill, but we do so with a full conscious awareness of the futility of the task. And in this rebellion, we find our freedom. By embracing the meaninglessness of the task, we become its master. Camus famously concluded, "One must imagine Sisyphus happy. His happiness comes not from the task itself, but from his conscious, defiant, and passionate rebellion against his fate. In a world that is constantly trying to shape you, the greatest existential challenge is to live an authentic life. Authenticity means being true to yourself, your freedom, and your values, rather than conforming to the expectations of others. It is the opposite of what Sartre called bad faith. Bad faith is a form of self-deception. It happens when we pretend we are not free. We lie to ourselves by saying, I have no choice, or I have to be this way because of my job, my family, or my past. We act like objects, like that paper knife with a fixed purpose, instead of embracing our nature as free and responsible human beings. Living in bad faith can feel comfortable, even safe. It allows you to offload responsibility onto external forces. A waiter who acts overly waiter-like, moving with exaggerated precision and politeness, might be in bad faith if he is just playing a role, convincing himself that the waiter is all he is. He is hiding from his own freedom behind a social script. We all do this to some extent. We adopt personas and follow social conventions without question. While some of this is necessary for society to function, existentialism warns us that if we lean too heavily on these roles, we risk losing ourselves entirely. We become hollow shells, playing parts written by someone else. Authenticity, on the other hand, requires immense courage. It demands that you constantly examine your own life and your own choices. It means accepting that you, and you alone, are the source of your values. An authentic person does not act generously because they are told it is the right thing to do. They act generously because they have freely chosen to make generosity a defining value of their existence. Their actions flow from an internal commitment, not from external pressure. This creates a life that is coherent and whole, where your actions are a true reflection of the person you have chosen to be. The path to authenticity is a lifelong process, not a final destination. It involves acknowledging all the uncomfortable truths of existence, the anxiety of freedom, the weight of responsibility, and the reality of our eventual death. It means facing these truths head-on instead of running from them. By living authentically, you are creating a life that is uniquely yours. It may not be the easiest path, but it is the only one that allows you to be fully human. It is the ultimate expression of your freedom, a testament to the fact that you did not simply endure your existence, but you truly lived it on your own terms. In our modern world, we are flooded with self-help books, podcasts, and gurus. They promise happiness, success, and a stress-free life, often packaged in simple, easy-to-follow steps. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. How to win friends and influence people. Think and grow rich. The core message is often one of optimization. It suggests that life is a problem to be solved, and with the right techniques and positive thinking, you can find a formula for a perfect life. This approach is, in many ways, the polar opposite of existentialism. It offers comfort and simple answers, where existentialism offers challenge and difficult questions. Existentialism is not self-help, it is self-confrontation. It does not provide a map to happiness. Instead, it hands you a blank piece of paper and a pen and tells you to draw the map yourself. Where self-help often encourages you to avoid negative feelings, existentialism asks you to dive right into them. It sees anxiety, or angst, not as a symptom to be cured, but as a fundamental part of the human condition, the dizzying realization of your own freedom. It tells you to face the absurd, to acknowledge despair, and to grapple with the reality of your mortality, because it is only by confronting these dark aspects of life that you can live with true depth and meaning. Furthermore, the self-help industry often promotes a kind of conformity. It provides a model of a successful or happy person and encourages you to mold yourself into that image. It is based on external validation, achieving certain goals, acquiring wealth, or gaining social status. Existentialism, on the other hand, is a radical call for non-conformity. It argues that true meaning must be created from within, not adopted from without. It champions authenticity over popularity. It would ask you not, how can I be more successful? But what does success even mean to me, and why have I chosen that definition? While self-help can offer useful tools for managing daily life, it rarely touches the core questions of existence. It is like tidying up the furniture on the deck of a ship without ever asking where the ship is going or why it is sailing at all. Existentialism is the philosophy that grabs you by the shoulders and forces you to look at the vast, empty ocean around you. It does not promise to make your journey easier or more pleasant. it promises to make it more real. It trades the illusion of easy answers for the difficult but rewarding task of creating a life that is authentically and profoundly your own. We have journeyed through the unsettling and inspiring landscape of existentialism. We have met the thinkers who dared to question everything and explored the powerful ideas they left behind. We have seen that we are condemned to be free, responsible for forging our own essence in a world without inherent meaning. We have faced the absurd and found that our rebellion against it can be a source of profound joy. This philosophy does not leave us with a neat and tidy conclusion. It leaves us instead with a question that is directed at each and every one of us, personally and directly. The question is simple, yet it is the most important one you will ever answer. What will you do with your freedom? Now that you understand that your life is a blank canvas, what will you choose to paint on it? Will you live in bad faith, allowing society, expectations, or fear to dictate your choices? Or will you embrace the difficult path of authenticity, creating your own values and living in accordance with them, even when it is hard? This is not a question you can answer once and be done with. It is a question you must answer with every action, every day, for the rest of your life. Thinking like an existentialist is not about becoming a gloomy, pessimistic person who sits in cafes contemplating nothingness. It is about becoming more alive. It is about waking up to the reality of your own existence and the incredible power you hold. It encourages you to live with intention, to make conscious choices rather than drifting along passively. It infuses every moment with weight and significance, because every moment is an opportunity to define who you are. This is the ultimate tool for personal growth. Not one that adds layers of technique, but one that strips away illusion to reveal the powerful core of your own free will. In the end, existentialism is a deeply hopeful philosophy. It is a declaration of human dignity in the face of a silent universe. It tells us that even if our lives are short, even if there is no grand cosmic purpose, our choices matter. The meaning of your life is not something you find, it is something you build. It is the love you choose to give, the art you choose to create, the kindness you choose to show, the principles you choose to stand for. The universe may not have a plan for you, but you have the power to make a plan for yourself. And that, perhaps, is the most meaningful purpose of all.